Alexa, power off.
Hey, rocket. This is John Robb here with the latest in a series of underground artists, a band from my hometown, Blackpool, those Fucking Snowflakes. A fantastic name for a band. Who came up with that in the first place?
I don't know. I think it was all of us. I think it evolved from, it was something snowflakes. I think fucking was just like the most, it's kind of got that sentiment across more than the others. I think it was those snowflakes at first.
We're trying to find the fastest route to guarantee no radio airplay ever. Fast as possible.
I know. It's ironically, I cheekily spoke to a publisher today on your behalf because you're just the kind of band he likes, but he just won't go near the name. But I said him, the name of the band is genius. You know, it's going to be in every T-shirt within 1 year. Yeah, well, but 50% of the population's T-shirts. Yeah. So did it start off, you know, you're just messing about and all of a sudden it's become a proposition?
Yeah, pretty much. It was just a way to get anxiety off our chests, just to go into a room and shout about all this like stuff that's going on. And then we didn't think we'd play outside of Blackpool. We just thought we'd play like bootleg once a month or something. And then it kind of got a bit, the music was a bit better than we thought it would be.
Yeah, that was my impression, that it was just basically people just messing about, and it's like, oh God, we're actually quite good at this. And then every song I've heard, which is obviously I can hear that's online, they're all really catchy songs and they're all really well written songs. There's actually a method behind the madness. Yeah,
it was trying to be jazz, post rock, and punk all at the same time, which is why we thought no one had ever listened to it.
Yeah. When we first started, I'd only ever been in bands that played like, you know, straight up Ramones sort of stuff with the odd bit of ska or whatever thrown in. But because Barry he's banging to sort of like math rock and all those weird sort of noisy offbeat sort of stuff, it was just having to like relearn drums. And so over the past year and a half, it's been a bit mental trying to learn 7/4, 7/11, whatever the bloody hell he comes up with.
What's quite curious though, in that battle of styles, it's almost like the Ramones got the upper hand, because I can hear the dislocated rhythms, but I can also hear the anthems, great punk rock anthems. But I guess the post rock bit is what stops you sound like a vintage band. You actually sound like a punk rock band should actually sound like what you sound like right now.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
We're not taking compliments, are we?
No, but I'm giving them. That's my job. So were you in bands before as well then? Was everybody playing around just local bands, just trying to find a way?
Yeah. That's how we all know each other, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a small scene in Blackpool, so everyone knows each other anyway. So I was just kind of bored and wanted to do something noisy, and Cass was just looking about for someone to play something noisy with at the time.
Interviews, Brian. This is going worldwide.
Yeah. And lyrically, it's perfect. It's it's angry, but it's also quite funny. There's a lot of dark humour in there. Is that the way? Was that a deliberate process, or is that just the way? Is that like Blackpool humour's never changed since I lived there?
It's all just like, it's always like nothing's written thinking, oh, you know, will people like this if we write songs a certain way, or is this things people will find amusing? It's just the way we are, really. There's literally no thought put into anything.
It's like a hefty dose of sort of Dead Kennedy style stuff in the off-kilter humour and the bleakness of it that Barry's done well to sort of transpose into the lyrics, you know.
Yeah, that was always the genius of Jello Biafra, because he made serious points, but he made them really entertaining, and I think you've managed to capture that very well.
You have to amuse yourself, or you'll just start weeping uncontrollably and you'll never stop.
was thinking, ironically, that you come from Blackpool, and a lot of your songs, there is a bit of discomfort, let's say, about Brexit and that situation, but yet you're in one of the most Brexit towns in the country. Do you feel quite alone sometimes?
Yeah, we live in our own little sort of lefty bubble, so we don't really associate with pink-faced people that much anymore. But it is, yeah, it's weird how everyone voted to leave the EU when the EU's done so much for this town. Like they helped out with rejuvenating the promenade when our government couldn't be bothered with us at all. And it's just like a little bit of a slap in the face to turn around and they go, yeah, thanks for that, now just fuck off.
I mean, do you think that kind of, sort of, I wouldn't say splendid isolation, but that isolation of growing up in Blackpool, that, to me, I think that actually feeds into a lot of bands that came out of there, because there is that feeling you're never going to get anywhere. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to entertain myself. And is that something you get when you live in such a sort of odd environment?
Yeah, a little bit. It's like you say, we've never really considered anyone else outside of the band when writing any songs. I mean, we've got that song we're about to record that we had to learn what a polyrhythm was and try and convey some sort of like loud form of music. And when we wrote it, we were just like, no one's going to like this, but we liked it.
So great ones to learn too.
Yeah. When we played it in Manchester, that guy said it was his favourite song, so it shows how wrong we were.
Yeah, well, it's more of a polyrhythmic city. So the videos, I think, are great as well. This DIY, darkly macabre, funny, and make the points. There's definitely a twist of genius in all this. So who makes the videos? Do you make them, or is it a friend?
No, we make them ourselves. Like Cass is really good at pointing cameras and directing people, whereas I can't tell anyone how to do anything whatsoever. I'm quite good at the editing, and
I bark orders. That was the creative one. I just try to control it as much as possible.
So is that your background? Is your background in some kind of film, or is it just something you found you were good at? You thought you just pointed a phone at things and you just had to feel for it?
You did a lot of film, didn't you, in animation? What was it?
I've done stuff with animation.
I did it in college for a bit. I should have really gone to uni to do it, but I got lost in music and drugs and so yeah. But and Barry's been doing it for a while, haven't you? Like video production and stuff.
Yeah, I did some video production stuff at college as well, but then I went into graphic design because not really a lot of video production opportunities in Blackpool.
No. Some things never change. So what's a point in time? I mean, when you were doing this and you're saying you're playing once a month in Blackpool, you just kind of play, it's a bit of a laugh, and then suddenly there's people there actually getting it. Did it kind of flip that quick, or was it a slow process?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite quick. We sent some demos out to places outside of town thinking, oh, they'll never want us to play. They won't. We're dressed like Boris Johnson, covered in blood. We've got a stupid name. All our songs are ridiculously shouty stuff, but we got like quite a few gig offers and just went out and did it. Then when we recorded our first song, we sent it to Tom Robinson and like played it. And 2 weeks later, we were in London at the Introducing Festival, hanging out with Jason from Sleaford Mods and Tom Robinson. So it was that was like really unexpected.
We had some very stern advice from Jason as well.
There
was no mincing words. It was just change the name. Just change the name and go from there.
That's quite funny because his whole Twitter feed is basically just trying to wind everybody up.
Right. Regularly uses every word under the sun as well.
I think, like we were saying, beginning of this, your name will be your biggest problem and your biggest advantage. But I mean, I don't see. All people have to do is just change it into the letters, isn't it?
Yeah.
TFS, isn't it? That's all it has to be, isn't it? That's all you have to say in the radio, isn't it?
There's a band I really like called Holy Fuck, and they get played on Six Music a lot. I think it's call it like Holy F. I mean, I don't understand why people get offended just by like this one word. It's like it's a bit draconian, to be honest. It's just if you just turn around and say this isn't a swear word anymore, you take the power out of it, and no one's going to be offended by it anymore. But just I don't get why.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never been.
So.
It's actually a great challenge. It's a challenge to people. In the world, there's within the pandemic, lunatic leaders, wars all over the place, and people still actually get a bit uncomfortable about the word fucking. It's actually quite weird, isn't it?
Well, that's ones like America, I find, because they can show, in the words of South Park, as horrific, deplorable violence is okay as long as there aren't any naughty words.
Yeah.
It's crazy, really, how backwards the world can be sometimes. You're right.
It's nuts. I would plead with you to never change the name. As soon as it's one of my writers on my site told me the name of the band, and I liked the band even before I'd heard you because I just really liked the name.
Got a web domain now, so that's £10 we won't get back if we change the name.
So what?
We can't do any Facebook promoting either. Not one.
Yeah.
We keep getting hassled about it. We just have to block it because you can't do mobiles anyway.
Yeah, they keep sending us messages going, "Oh, you can have £20 off your Facebook promotions." It's like, well, you won't let us anyway.
Oh, sod them anyway in this ridiculous situation where you have to kowtow to them or kowtow to the guy from Spotify telling you to release a record every 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. So in this period, this strange period, which we've all got used to now, is this actually been a good time for you to write songs, or have you just been sat around just going, oh God, I just don't feel like it at all?
Well, we couldn't practice together for a couple of months because our rehearsal space is above the pub and it was closed. So we were just sending each other ideas that we'd done at home. I think it was like, by the time we got back into the practice room, it was like 9 or 10 songs that we're desperately trying to catch up and learn at the moment. Some of them are really hard to play. So, one that's just taken us 3 weeks just because it's ridiculous.
I think if anything, spurred the creativity on further because, I mean, you don't have to go far, really. You just go on Twitter, don't you, and see all the madness that's going on. And when you got nothing else to do and you can't leave your house, you're just going to fester on it and write songs. So it's great material.
Yeah, it's just like every time I hear anything on the news, I just feel like angry at the moment. So there's a lot of like material to put down. For once, I've actually got more lyrics than I have music to put them to, just because I keep writing these little bits of things that have been pissing me off.
I was thinking these times, and I saw Spitting Image was coming back, etc. I thought, how do you parody a parody? It's almost impossible now. And I mean, you can't. Whatever you say about Boris Johnson is actually, it's not even like, people used to exaggerate people to make them look ridiculous. Someone like Boris Johnson already is ridiculous. It's a challenge, isn't it, for somebody like you who's doing those kind of lyrics, isn't it?
I'm not writing it. It's just going to be news clips.
Yeah.
It's just actual events that are happening.
Yeah.
Donald Trump especially just is like he's already like a spitting image puppet. He's just like a caricature of himself already.
And every day he just gets like 10 times more insane, doesn't he? It's just, the whole thing is just utterly bizarre, isn't it?